Alan Holmes.
Tuesday morning, a very good morning to you. And a controversial high-speed rail line is expected to be given the green light by the government today. The first phase of the £32 billion HS2 project will speed passengers from London to Birmingham in 49 minutes, saving over half an hour on the current journey. But opponents say it will cost taxpayers billions more and ruin swathes of countryside. Alistair Bunkle with the story.
The Buckinghamshire Chilterns. This is classic commuter belt. Rolling green hills through blue Tory constituencies, barely 35 miles from Westminster, but a long way apart from government over plans for a high-speed rail network. Annie Bailey's pub just outside the village of Great Missenden is something of a cause célèbre around here. The line will run straight through it.
When schools have been closed and teachers are losing their jobs and nurses, it's just absolutely unviable. And I can't believe we're still here having this conversation and the government's still going ahead. It's just a vanity project. It's nothing more.
It looks like this is all about how do you get to London more quickly. It's absolutely not the way to provide prosperity in the West Midlands and the North.
Yeah,
it's to make all these great cities as suburbs of London. That's the way it begins to look.
HS2, as it's known, will run between a remodelled Euston station in London, non-stop to Birmingham through this countryside. Journey time, 49 minutes, 30 minutes quicker than at present. The trains will travel up to 225 miles per hour, all this for £32 billion by the government's estimate. Birmingham, one end of the proposed line, and a good place to find supporters of a high-speed track, like Steve Britton.
You know, you can work on webcams, but there's nothing better than face-to-face. When I'm building precision equipment, as we are here, it's a requirement for the customer to come and visit, pass the machines off and that sort of thing. So we need high-speed rail from London to Birmingham, and we need it to go to the north-east, north-west, and eventually Scotland.
Unions support the proposed network, so too do plenty of business leaders, arguing that it will keep Britain competitive. Even as a train trundles its way through the Buckinghamshire countryside, the benefits of increased speed and capacity aren't accepted here without dispute. But it's the rural argument, the environmental debate and the economic cost that is particularly pertinent for a Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition. Alistair Bunkle, Sky News, Buckinghamshire.
And let's go live to Buckinghamshire. Neil Patterson's there for us this morning in a place called Great Missenden. And what's the story from there, Neil?
Well, in a word, anger. Probably you can sprinkle a little bit of frustration on the top there. You heard in Alistair's report one of those that they interviewed calling this a vanity project. And in essence, that appears to be the dividing line. On the one hand, you have the government, you have business, you have the unions, all saying, in conjunction with Network Rail, that they need to expand capacity on the line, they need to make these improvements to infrastructure, and that there will be some huge economic benefits of £44 billion, they estimate, over the 60 years of the project. By way of contrast, you have those who live in this particularly remarkably beautiful part of the countryside, the Chilterns. Quite clearly, they feel that these projections just simply don't stand up, and they've got a little bit of weight on their side of the argument. Certainly, if you look at, for example, the Institute of Economic Affairs, they produced a report in the middle of this year saying that there was a significant risk that this could be the latest in the series of government big project disasters. The battle lines are pretty clearly drawn. On the one hand, you have those who say that the capacity is necessary. On the other hand, you have those who say that for the next, over a decade, this is going to be a pretty horrific place to live.
Sky's Neil Patterson is at Great Missenden in Buckinghamshire, which lies alongside the proposed route. And Neil, what do they make of the plans there?
Well, they're giving it fairly short shrift. I mean, you heard in Alistair's report there a range of views as to the utility of HS2. Frankly, speak to people here in Great Missenden and you'll find that they are pretty much all of one opinion, that it's wrong, that it's too costly and that the benefits simply will not be appreciated to the extent that the government is arguing. One of those local residents, Philip Brooke, is with me. Philip, just explain to me exactly how this will affect your life if indeed HS2 does go ahead.
Well, it will utterly devastate this area. This area has about 55 million visits a year, and there's no way that the government can suggest they can mitigate against the destruction of
10-ton trucks going up and down, hundreds of them going up and down for many, many years. The hundreds of thousands of tons worth of earth and spoil that's going to come out into this area. There's no way that the noise and the pollution is going to allow life to go on as it currently does.
The argument that's being made, though, is that the benefits of this, the economic regeneration, the improved connections, the improved capacity on the railways, all outweigh the cost that obviously you will have to endure.
Well, the business sense just does not make sense. I can imagine that Justin Greening and David Cameron having to stand up in front of the Dragon's Den team and saying, I've got this idea. It's going to cost the taxpayer between 135 to 180 million pounds a mile to save 20 minutes journey from London to Birmingham. And the Dragons would laugh them out of the room. So I haven't seen any evidence that the business case makes sense for the destruction they're talking about.
What do you make of the charge of NIMBYism, the idea that people living here in the Chiltern Hills have enjoyed a fairly blessed existence and that they're simply getting a little bit grumpy at having their quality of life diminished, for the greater benefit?
Well, everyone wants to protect an area that's of national importance, indeed. But I would argue that there's a better way to spend and invest the money. If the government had done a proper audit on the transport system and this had been the best and only solution, then I'd have supported it. But they haven't. It doesn't seem joined up. It doesn't even go to the Heathrow hub. There's so many questions about it that don't stack up.
Well, what we've been hearing this morning from a number of people is why not simply improve the existing railway network? The West Coast Main Line, for example, is something that a number of people have mentioned.
I think that would bring immediate and far quicker benefits to the general public, certainly, rather than waiting for a service that might not even start running at best till 2027. I can't believe that the government will have us believe that this is the only solution that was available on the table. And I think they should go back to the drawing board and reassess and rethink what this country really needs to alleviate our transport woes.